Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com here in Phoenix, Arizona. Actually, I'm in Surprise, all these different town names, Chandler and Scottsdale. You got Phoenix, Surprise, and Glendale. I'm learning them all. Well, not all of them, but here I am wrapping up the work from Rosa, the remnants of Hurricane Rosa, bringing record rainfall to Phoenix, over 2 inches of rain yesterday, which is a record, and the flooding that ensued, nuisance flooding for the most part, as I talked about in the update last night. Some damage. I don't think there was any loss of life. There shouldn't have been. People hopefully were paying attention and didn't drive through floodwaters and so forth. I think there were some rescues, but all in all, a nuisance impact event, kind of on the low to moderate side, depending on whether or not you were impacted, and that's what it comes down to. If you are impacted by something, then it's a big deal, especially if it's a severe impact. Remember that all disasters are local when it's all said and done. We want to know what's going to happen to us. So let's jump into the tropics. Speaking of what's going to happen to us, anything from the tropics? Well, let's see. We do have Hurricane Leslie. It has become a hurricane, and it'll strengthen a little bit. Right now it's at 80 miles per hour, nearly stationary. This will mill around for the next several days. There's just not enough ridging out this way to bring Leslie back this way and have it hit the United States. That's not going to happen. So let's just put a big X on that idea. And this is just a generalization. We have some ridging out here, and we certainly have ridging over here. And then in between, Leslie is just kind of caught, and as this ridge kind of strengthens back this way, it'll bump Leslie off to the north and east with time, and then it'll eventually head on out into the North Atlantic, and that will be that. So we don't have to worry. 99% sure at this point that Leslie will not be coming all the way back towards the U.S. Meanwhile, 30% chance of development with the system currently nestled in the western Caribbean. And if we look in the eastern Pacific real quick, here's Hurricane Sergio. It will be keeping an eye on this, another major hurricane. Odds are that eventually this too will turn back towards this area somewhere, probably 10 days out. So we have a while, and I'll be keeping an eye on that very closely. We'll see what happens. Looking at the satellite imagery here from tropicaltidbits.com. Again, the wonderful handiwork of Levi Cowan right there. Thank you, Levi. I love these animations. This is just fantastic. So we see Leslie out here. It's got a fairly well-defined eye. Overall, the convection is kind of ragged. It's got a decent central dense overcast, that round donut shape right there. And that's called the CDO, or central dense overcast. But it is over, marginally warm enough water, and it's going to upwell the water underneath itself, churning up the ocean, and so it's not going to become intense, I don't think. I mean, it could, but here is an intense hurricane. There's Sergio down in the Pacific there, a very well-defined central dense overcast. Luckily, it's way out in the ocean there, not affecting land for the time being. And I don't see anything else of any concern down here along the southeastern Pacific off the coast of Central America or Mexico. Same can be said over here for you folks in the windwards and leewards that were impacted by Kirk. Very heavy rain, Trinidad, Barbados, and vicinity. We saw the video out of there, so nothing else coming from the east, and this blob of moisture here associated with the lower pressures in the western Caribbean. Really not much to worry about. And this is going to take some time, if ever, to develop. It's just a large, low-pressure gyre in the atmosphere. And you can just see the ever so slightest hints of broad turning in here. If I can get this to work. Come on. Work. Trying to draw. Broad turning in there. But it's not coming together quickly, so we don't have too much to worry about with that. And if we look at the vorticity signature, this gives us an idea of the actual spin, and this is what I was trying to show you right here. Sometimes my mouse pad the little touchpad on the laptop. I don't bring a mouse with me when I travel. It's just one less thing to have to keep up with, to get broken. So I just use the touchpad. Anyhow, a little signature of spin down there. That's what that orange and yellow indicates. A little bit of vorticity, spinning, trying to bundle all of that energy. But you can see there's a lot of energy around. All this represents energy in the atmosphere, vorticity that's potential energy if it got bundled. And what does it look like if it's bundled? That's Sergio, and they have a hurricane symbol over Leslie. And, this is vorticity that's all stretched out, as an example. And in the tropics, as I talk about often, we look to see where the vorticity is coming together, and the rounder it is, the more intense the cyclone is on our planet. It's just the way the physics works. Looking at the model guidance here, this is the 12Z GFS out the next 7 days. You notice a couple of things. Very strong ridging here over the southeast. The summer will continue. When I get back home to North Carolina tomorrow, over the weekend coming up, I'll be able to take my kids to the beach in October, enjoying 80-something degree water. Unreal. And they've tested the water for what it's worth. We're not going to go like snorkeling and, swimming on our backs, spurting water out of our mouths like you see, the quintessential, yay, frolicking in the water. I'm a little skeptical that the water's probably kind of nasty from all of the flooding that we've had, but for what it's worth, reserve your comments, right? The Department of Environment and Natural Resources claims that the bacteria levels or whatever are not unsafe. But in any case, we can at least go to the beach and, get up to our knees or something and keep the kids, basically keep your head out of the water. That's what I would do. I think just logic would dictate all that flooding that we've had up here, draining into the oceans. You might want to keep your head out of the water. That's just my opinion. Back to the topic at hand, though, from my little tangent there. You see, as I've been yapping, nothing really gets going down here. This is a week's worth of that 850 millibar level that I was showing you on the chart there. This is an animation of that, what the GFS, the Global Forecast System, predicts in its numerical output. And you don't see any, you see those blobs rotating around and, moving, but nothing really consolidates. Maybe something here, just south of the coast of Central America in the extreme southeastern Pacific, but maybe not. I mean, the model has been kind of waffling back and forth. Even the Euro has shown development over, come on, give me my color, in this area that eventually moves up to here, but last night it shows nothing. So bottom line, folks, is over the next few days, we do have to watch. See if this will give me, there I am. Hi. We do have to watch that region, but I don't see anything to be alarmed about just yet. Probably going to be a very slow process if anything develops at all. And right now, the two major model camps, the ECMWF and the GFS, really not indicating that much going on down there to be concerned with. So we'll take it. All right, that's it from me from Phoenix. I'm going to go pick up my one camera that I set out in Wickenburg, the river there, the Hasayampa River, if that's how you say it, never flowed. Watch, it'll start flowing 2 days from now or something. It's good. You set a camera up, I do, to capture something dramatic, and if it doesn't happen, that's definitely good for the people. But just seeing the river run would have been kind of cool, to go from a dry riverbed to 3 or 4 feet of running water. That would have been kind of neat to see, but oh well, maybe next time. All right, that is it from Phoenix, from Mark Sudduth, from me. I'm done. I catch a late night flight tonight, fly across the continent in the overnight hours, land back in Wilmington 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. I just wanted to make sure I had enough time today in case things were worse. It's better to have more time than not enough time. I think we could all agree with that. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Thanks as always for tuning in. I'll have more for you tomorrow.